A $4 million wedding sounds like the dream, the ultimate show of love and unity. But when you reach this kind of wealth, every detail stops being emotional and starts being tactical. Behind the designer gowns, glittering diamonds, and private concerts, a quiet power play unfolds. And Victoria Beckham's reaction, that was the moment almost everyone overlooked while caught up in the sparkle. Because this isn't really a love story, it's a story about money, influence, and control colliding inside powerful families. It's about who truly calls the shots behind all that perfection. A $4 million wedding might sound like over-the-top luxury, but for Brooklyn Beckham and Nicola Peltz, the money wasn't the main event. The real headline was about dominance, control over space, timing, visibility, and even the story being told to the world.
It was the hardest period for us because it felt like the world was against us. And here's the thing, we were against each other, if I'm being completely honest.
That Palm Beach ceremony wasn't about showing off for fans or the press. It was a high-level operation designed to manage attention and quietly display hierarchy to a very select crowd. That's the first illusion to break. Luxury weddings at this level aren't about joy first, they're about precision and image. Just look at the venue, the Peltz family's private oceanfront estate worth over $100 million. That choice alone tells a story. Hosting it there erased any need for public hotels or resorts, meaning no outside eyes, no random intrusions. Every security detail, every entrance, every guest route was locked down and choreographed like a top-secret mission. Nothing was accidental. Every move had meaning.
Victoria and David's commercial.
The best thing I've ever seen.
Best thing you've ever seen. Are they always that funny?
Yes. They're hysterical. She's hysterical. They're both hysterical. But she is so funny, and that commercial killed me. I was like, they deserve an Oscar for that commercial.
This is exactly why the ultra-rich stick to private estates. They don't just rent luxury, they own it. These places aren't about comfort, they're about control. No hotel staff wandering around, no random eyes watching, and definitely no leaks unless someone high up says so. Every single part of this $4 million wedding served a purpose, not just a pretty look. The budget wasn't blown on flowers or champagne towers. It went into custom-built structures, top-tier private security, pro sound crews, lighting rigs, and full-on backup plans for anything that could go wrong. These are the invisible details that never make it to social media, but secretly decide who gets to see what and when. In this kind of setup, lighting isn't there for romance, it's a power tool for visibility control. And that incredible sound system? It's not just for fun, it's designed to steer attention, mute chaos, and make sure no unplanned moment leaks outside the property.
What is that relationship like, just walking around the house with them? Are they just the best?
They're really the best people. And I'm so excited Victoria's here tonight, and it means the world to me. She made my outfit, she customized this beautiful look, and I'm just so happy to have her here tonight.
Everything was locked down tight. Even the guest list was a masterpiece of strategy, a careful mix of fashion icons, athletes, and Hollywood stars, blended with serious business royalty tied to the Peltz family. Those invitations, they weren't just invites, they were temporary access passes into a world where presence equals power. And the absences? Just as loud. If someone didn't get that invite, it was a calculated message. Every name, every table, every seat was vetted like a corporate decision, approved for image, influence, and balance. Even the size of the event, around 500 guests, wasn't random. That's the sweet spot. Big enough to flex status, but small enough to keep everyone under control. For families who live as full-blown brands, unpredictability is the enemy. One wrong moment can shake an entire image, and at this level, that's pure risk. This is the secret logic behind every design choice at that wedding. The money wasn't poured in for show, it was used to eliminate chaos. The real goal wasn't viral fame or flashy headlines, it was insulation. Every photo, every video, every whisper was filtered through layers of control before the public ever saw a thing. Once you see it that way, everything looks different. The wedding itself wasn't the story, it was the stage. And a stage isn't built for romance, it's built to show who really holds the power. The real clues weren't in the vows or the couture, they were in those rare, unscripted reactions that slipped through the cracks of perfection. If something felt just a bit off behind all the glitter, that's where the truth starts to leak out. What details stood out to you first? Because that tiny imperfection might be where the real story begins. Then came the reception, the part where the cracks in the brand story started to show. The DJ, the dance, the tension in the air, this was where the fantasy started to bend. By this point, the event had burned through over $4 million, but the priciest thing in that room wasn't the diamonds or decor, it was the expectation. Nearly 400 guests filled the Peltz family's $100 million Palm Beach estate, waiting for the perfect camera-ready moment when Brooklyn Beckham and Nicola Peltz would become the stars of their own universe. Behind the decks was DJ Fat Tony, not just a music guy, but a trusted insider. His real job wasn't just to hype the crowd, it was to control the mood, keep the emotions smooth, and make sure nothing unscripted went public. So when the first dance was about to begin, the atmosphere shifted, the kind of silence that only extreme wealth can command. No wild cheers, no phones in the air, just polished attention locked on the stage.
Then the script snapped. Instead of Nicola stepping forward to dance with Brooklyn, the spotlight swung toward Victoria Beckham. Out of nowhere, she was called onto the stage. Whether it was a slip-up, an impulsive moment, or something quietly intentional didn't matter. What happened next froze the room. The music started, the lights stayed steady, and for a few strange seconds, the whole visual order flipped. The mother replaced the bride. The past took the place of the future. Witnesses said Brooklyn just stood there, still, then visibly shaken. And this wasn't about jealousy or drama. This was about symbolism. In ultra-wealthy families, these ceremonies aren't just emotional gestures, they're contracts. The first dance isn't about love, it's about power, status, and recognition. So when that moment of recognition shifted, even for a heartbeat, it cracked the structure that everyone had agreed to uphold. The crowd felt it, even if no one said a word. To make it more intense, Mark Anthony was performing live, his voice soaring through the room as confusion rippled beneath the glamour. At a normal wedding, people might have laughed it off, but here, at an event built to eliminate every trace of unpredictability, that tiny slip became the moment everyone replayed in their minds, wondering what it really meant. On the drive home, whispers said Nicola left the dance floor in tears and Brooklyn followed right after her. The music kept going, the guests tried to move on, but the energy in the room never really bounced back. That's why this moment mattered so much, not because of a dance gone wrong, but because control slipped right in front of people who live and breathe power. Guests at that level don't need explanations, they read rooms. They saw who froze, who rushed to fix it, who stayed silent, and who didn't offer an apology. By morning, the photos online told a different story. Flawless smiles, perfect lighting, champagne glasses clinking, couture everywhere. But behind those glossy pictures, something inside the family had shifted. That first dance, meant to honor a new union, had accidentally reinforced the old hierarchy. And when that happens in families where massive wealth and brand identity collide, those tiny fashion choices say way more than any toast or public statement ever could. Here, fashion isn't celebration, it's governance. Jewelry becomes jurisdiction. By the time Nicola stepped into that light, the real transfer had already taken place, not between two families, but between control and independence. When guests applauded the gown, they were really acknowledging a shift in power. The only lingering question was whether everyone in that room was ready to accept it. And to truly understand a billionaire wedding like this, you can't just look at the flowers or listen to the vows.
You have to study who was allowed inside the gates. At this $3 million spectacle, the guest list wasn't just a social lineup. It was a living, breathing balance sheet of influence, showing exactly who mattered most in their world that night.
Every single invitation to that wedding wasn't just a ticket, it was a statement. Each one symbolized access, alignment, and silent obligation. The venue itself enforced that hierarchy without saying a word. Held at the Peltz family's $100 million Palm Beach compound, the location wiped out all randomness. No hotel lobbies, no press lurking around, no curious outsiders. Guests didn't just arrive, they were transported, screened, and scheduled down to the minute. Nothing was casual, not even the timing of their entrances. At this level, an invitation isn't extended out of friendliness, it's strategy. Showing up means confirming your proximity to power. Not being there, that's a message too. It signals distance. Inside that ballroom, the room itself told a story of two worlds colliding. On one side stood the Beckham network, the celebrity circle powered by loyalty, fame, and brand consistency. People like Eva Longoria and Gordon Ramsay weren't just attending as pals, they were allies, veterans of the Beckham empire who know how to move under public pressure without ever breaking narrative control. Their presence shouted reliability, familiarity, and PR discipline, a living reminder that the Beckham image is protected by a loyal inner circle that thrives under scrutiny. Across from them stood the Peltz side, quieter, heavier, and way less interested in being photographed. This crowd wasn't chasing cameras. They were the kind of people who own the cameras. Executives, financiers, legacy families, names that carried generational wealth measured in hundreds of millions, not Instagram followers. They didn't need to post or perform. Their influence lives in private jets, closed-door meetings, and contracts that move markets. Their power doesn't need visibility because it operates upstream, where discretion is the ultimate flex. This contrast was everything. It showed Brooklyn Beckham caught right in the middle of two totally different worlds, one built on fame and public image, the other powered by old money and private influence. Standing between those ecosystems meant balancing two sets of rules, and that tension could be felt in every corner of the room. Even the entertainment reflected that balance. Mark Anthony, performing live that night, wasn't just there to sing, he was there to manage energy. His performance fee, rumored to be in the high six figures, wasn't for glamour alone. His presence was strategic. His job was to control the emotional rhythm of the night, keeping the energy high but steady. At this level, live music isn't a luxury, it's stabilization. It ensures no awkward silences, no chaotic outbursts, no unscripted moments that could shift attention or spark gossip. Every note was part of the choreography. And that guest list? It wasn't about star power, it was about network geometry. Influence wasn't packed into one corner of the room, it was spread like a social blueprint. Fashion elites sat here, finance heavyweights over there, entertainment in between, perfectly balanced so no single group could claim dominance. In circles like this, even the seating plan is political. Because in elite events, imbalance is dangerous. It breeds resentment, competition, or worse, loss of narrative control. The true sophistication of the night wasn't what did happen, but what didn't. No surprise plus ones, no viral interruptions, no sneaky leaks to the press. That kind of order only exists when every invite is vetted like a corporate board seat, and when every guest instinctively knows the rules without anyone ever saying them out loud. This wedding didn't just celebrate love, it achieved something far bigger. It pulled off what few events ever could, merging celebrity capital and billionaire capital under one perfectly controlled roof. Two worlds that rarely mix found themselves orbiting the same spotlight, each watching, measuring, and learning from the other without ever giving up control. Once you see it through that lens, the whole thing stops looking like a party and starts looking like a summit. A high-level gathering that quietly reshaped alliances long after the last champagne glass was cleared and the final guest left the estate. But the real story? That started after the party ended, because for families operating at this scale, the aftermath is where the true drama unfolds. Once the emotions fade, what's left is narrative management. Every photo, every reaction, even every pause becomes part of an asset that needs to be shaped and protected.
After Brooklyn Beckham and Nicola Peltz's $4 million ceremony, the focus quickly shifted from celebration to containment. Not because the event failed, but because its size made every reaction visible, every silence loud. Then came whispers, reports of a possible vow renewal in upstate New York, not as a romantic gesture, but as a recalibration, a reset of the emotional timeline. And that location choice? Totally intentional. Upstate estates used for such renewals usually sit behind layers of private security, restricted airspace, and zoning protections. These aren't cozy countryside spots, they're fortresses of image control, worth anywhere from $15 million to $40 million. At this level, a vow renewal isn't about reliving love, it's about rewriting memory. It's a strategic move to overwrite tension with new imagery, new footage, and a cleaner emotional narrative. The cameras roll again, but this time under total control. Cinematic rigs, perfect lighting, crisp live audio, every frame designed to look effortless while protecting the brand. Because here, even love stories are managed like luxury assets. At this level of fame and fortune, mastering memory becomes its own kind of intellectual property. For celebrity dynasties like this, even the raw, private footage shot during these events can quietly hold a value in the 8 figures. And it's not because they plan to sell it, it's because it's leverage. Platforms like Netflix or Disney don't just buy stories, they pay top dollar for controlled intimacy, those rare moments that humanize power without ever threatening it. Every clip, every behind-the-scenes shot is potential currency in the empire of image.
Even if no streaming deal ever happens, the existence of that footage alone creates power. It gives the family options, a backup narrative ready to roll when they need to redirect public attention. This isn't about publicity, it's about protection. Because when whispers of family tension start circulating, staying silent isn't enough. Billionaire families don't react, they reframe. They drop new photos, new clips, new happy family visuals that journalists can cite and fans can cling to. This isn't tabloid-style damage control, this is legacy maintenance. Negative press ages fast if it's left unchecked, but beautifully produced visuals, those last forever. That's why this phase is so subtle, yet so powerful. There are no public statements, no emotional confessions, no messy interviews, just a perfectly timed future moment that feels spontaneous but was crafted months in advance. Because at this scale, wealth doesn't erase conflict, it repackages it. Every private argument, every awkward silence gets transformed into a managed chapter, not an open wound. And by the time the world moves on, what lingers isn't the tension itself, it's the polished proof that even after the biggest spectacle fades, control still sits firmly with those who can afford to shape memory as carefully as they shape their assets. Victoria Beckham's reaction, or rather her non-reaction, was a masterclass in billionaire strategy. People often mistake silence for weakness, but at this level of wealth, silence can be the most expensive move on the board. When Brooklyn Beckham's public comments sparked talk of family tension, Victoria didn't rush to clear the air. Her stillness wasn't emotional restraint, it was financial precision, executed in real time. Victoria isn't just a mother here, she's the CEO of a fashion empire where every headline can shift millions. Her brand lives in a fragile ecosystem built on perception stability, where investor confidence, retail partnerships, and long-term licensing deals all hinge on how she manages her image. One emotional interview, one impulsive reaction could cost more than it could ever repair. In the high-end fashion world, reputation is capital, and even a small public crack can quietly wipe out tens of millions in trust, wholesale orders, and future collaborations. So instead of speaking out, Victoria chose the move that protects optionality: curated imagery. Carefully selected posts flooded her social media, nostalgic family photos, old holiday memories, warm legacy shots, all designed to balance the narrative without saying a single word. That's not denial, that's dilution. Elite families don't fight rumors, they flood them with prettier memories until the noise fades. A single image from a past Christmas, professionally lit and emotionally neutral, can silence an entire news cycle. That's the true art of narrative control.
And underneath all this is the deeper truth, the vulnerability of new money visibility versus old money structure. Legacy families protect conflict through layers of private trusts, offshore management, and airtight non-disclosure systems that span generations. But in celebrity dynasties like the Beckhams, their power is built in public, and that means every silence, every smile, every perfectly staged post carries a price tag and a purpose. Celebrity dynasties don't have the luxury of privacy. Their wealth depends on being seen. Every disagreement, every side-eye, every rumor becomes instant content for the public to consume. That's why the cost of a family rift isn't just emotional, it's financial. Every tear, every silence, every cold photo can translate into real valuation pressure. And that's exactly why Victoria Beckham's silence wasn't weakness, it was strategy. By refusing to engage, she shut down the cycle before it could grow legs. No reaction means no second headline, no new narrative for the media to twist. No quotes, no bait for tabloids, no confrontation, no timeline extension. In the world of crisis economics, short stories die faster than long ones. Victoria's approach was pure control, containment through boredom, not confrontation through dominance. This moment exposed a key truth about the modern elite. Wealth today isn't just about what you own, it's about how fast you can make a story disappear. When image equals capital, restraint becomes a shield, a form of silent infrastructure that protects legacy and power. But here's the question that lingers. In a world where family legacy is now a public product, is silence still the strongest currency, or does it only postpone the inevitable reckoning that even money can't fully control? Because this wedding, this glittering multi-million-dollar spectacle, pulled back the curtain on how the ultra-rich really operate. It revealed three hard truths that most people never see. First, money isn't just for luxury, it's a tool for choreographing visibility. From the guest list to the music to the couture, every element is designed to signal hierarchy and power, a strategy straight out of centuries-old dynastic playbooks where ceremonies serve as controlled power displays. Second, wealth doesn't erase conflict, it amplifies it. When your family doubles as a global brand, emotional missteps aren't just awkward, they're reputational risks that must be contained, not explained. Every move has to protect the empire first. Third, silence itself is power. The decision not to respond often safeguards long-term influence far better than any public defense ever could, because in this world, legacy always outweighs sympathy. So, what do you think? Is silence a weapon or a weakness in the age of public legacy? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if this deep dive pulled back the curtain on the elite in ways you didn't expect, make sure to like, subscribe, share, and keep the conversation going below. Your take might just be the next headline.